Hey guys, welcome to my well, looks like it's gonna be the final part of reacting to this ultimate Stargate retrospective. And well, we got a way through the one that kind of got the Stargate franchise to kind of flounder a little bit. Although that, as we've already listened to thus far, that it was likely due to like a variety of factors, not just how sucky universe was. But let's actually see, shall we? Yay. Let's go. Oh, I press play. Play? This isn't why is this not playing? 347.51. Okay. Good. Let's need a little refresh. Alright, let's go.
The future looked bright for Stargate in 2009. However, the following 2 years would prove to be one of the most turbulent eras for the Stargate mythos, with financial struggles, a rapidly changing media landscape, further cancellations, and a return to the small screen unlike anything Stargate fans were expecting.
I do have to have like a few actually I'll say these as they actually come up. There are like a couple of characters in Stargate Universe I actually enjoy. A couple of them. Wait, actually 1.5, as you see. Part
The show
5.
that would become Stargate Universe was originally conceived in 2007, long before
God,
Stargate
I'm
Atlantis
thirsty.
was cancelled, and producers Brad Wright and Robert C. Cooper had shifted their focus to the Stargate movies. The idea was to create a wholly distinct entity which could serve as a jumping on point for new viewers, unlike Atlantis, which was a direct spin off from SG1. Wright and Cooper also envisioned a show which would be stylistically and tonally very different from what came before. Rather than the tongue in cheek fun of previous Stargate shows,
You know, if you watch, I believe it's. Is it Home? It's like the two-parter where like the Doko crew is like giving a tour of the base. Oh wait, no, it wasn't that one. That was, oh, what was it? Yeah, it was the one where they like trying to get like a spin-off show from like Wormhole Extreme, and they like kept chucking out ideas. And one of them was like a really dark like teen drama, the CW kind of like show. If if you can envision that kind of thing, like I want to say like Buffy or something. In fact, I'm pretty sure one of the characters in this actually used to star as one of the people in Charmed. That just popped into my head. I think it's like that. Wait, it's this blonde bitch right here. This chick. I'm pretty sure she was on Charmed before, and I'm pretty sure this guy was on another one, like another of those shows, like one. I want to say One Tree Hill or the OC, one of those. Like I have absolutely no idea. I might have to. I mean, I do have the actual somewhere. I do. Might have to look at some actual research for that, but now I'm watching it with you guys. She used to be on, like, Charmed or Buffy or one of those, and he used to be on, like, one of those teen drama fucking show things.
From what came before, rather than the tongue-in-cheek
I'm, like,
fun of previous Stargate shows,
80%
the
sure.
universe would be grittier and more mature.
This is the character that I like. I think his character is Dr. Rush, Nicholas Rush. I like him. Probably because he's, like, the most abrasive out of all the characters.
Aimed at a broader adult audience. By 2007,
Ah, yes, the modern audience. I mean, maybe it's... I guess it's, like, a little bit too early for that, but, like...
Wright and Cooper had been...
Yeah, I just realized, like, Stargate kind of, like, neatly sidestepped some of the, the bullshit that was happening in, like, entertainment, purely because it was so goddamn old. Like, Stargate Universe, like, stopped in 2011? And that was, like, the start of the whole, like, what was, like, Gamergate and shit. Like, in, like, 2013, I think? Yeah. And, like, it started happening in Hollywood in, like, 2015, I want to say.
Working on Stargate for well over a decade, and so they sought to make Stargate fresh again with this new incarnation. In an interview leading up to Stargate's release,
I think one of the things that sort of bothered me as a producer is that we tried very hard to make a little movie every week, a feature film. I'm not selling it short, but my point is that the mentality was to go into it with the idea of not trying to reach beyond the means of our budget. Not trying to make $100 million film with significantly less than that, but rather make a great television show and shoot it in such a way that would embrace the elements that are going to be spectacular, which are the actors and the stories and the characters, and not reach beyond their capabilities, budget-wise, or making something that, in the end of the day, to certain audiences might come across as being silly. See, no, that's the whole point. You're supposed to reach beyond your means. That's kind of the whole reason we invented sci-fi in the first place. It's imagining a world where we, like, went beyond. That's the whole point.
Cooper explained, I think one of the things that sort of bothered me as a producer
Oh, he's
was
just
that
doing a
we
okay.
tried very hard to make
Fine.
a little movie every week, a feature film. I'm not selling it short, but my point is that the mentality was going into it with the idea of not trying to reach beyond the means of our budget.
Ooh. Maybe. I mean, I definitely agree, but yeah.
Not trying to make $100 million film with significantly less than that, but rather make a great television show and shoot it in such a way that would embrace the elements that are going to be spectacular, which are the actors and the stories and the characters, and not reach beyond our capabilities budget-wise of making something that, at the end of the day, to certain audiences might come across as being silly. Though pitched in 2007, further development on Stargate Universe was put on hold while Wright and Cooper focused on the Arc of Truth and Continuum, and was further delayed by a writer's strike. This meant the official announcement for Stargate Universe came shortly after Stargate Atlantis was cancelled.
I'm, like, taking my pills right now. Sorry.
Due to the anger over this abrupt cancellation, Wright and Cooper's comments about the fresh approach to SGU were perceived by some fans that the producers were somehow embarrassed by previous Stargate shows. The perception was that the duo weren't happy with what the fans were, cancelling the well-liked Stargate Atlantis in favor of a darker, grittier Stargate series aimed at a different audience. Not everyone shared this view, and Wright and Cooper stated many times in interviews and forum posts that this wasn't the case. However, it didn't bode well that many fans were approaching Stargate Universe with great trepidation rather than excitement. Award-winning Scottish actor Robert Carlyle was the first to be cast as Dr. Nicholas Rush.
Hey, I was right. This guy, I like this guy. I like this character as well.
the troubled chief scientist of the Icarus Project. Though Carlyle had made forays into genre fare in the horror cult classic Ravenous and the James Bond outing The World Is Not Enough, he was mostly known for dramas like Trainspotting and Hitler the Rise of Evil. Carlyle's repertoire featured many intense, sometimes disturbed characters and grounded dramatic performances. Landing such an admired actor was quite the coup for the new Stargate series, and was another statement of creative intent by the producers. Luis Ferreira was a veteran of thriller shows and movies, having appeared in
Yeah, all the rest
24,
are kind of like
CSI, and
mid.
Shooter when he was cast as Colonel Everett Young in Stargate Universe.
Kind of a little
David
bit
Blue
mid.
was an enormous fan of Stargate.
Why'd you cut back from him, man? Come on.
Everett Young in Stargate Universe.
I'm talking about him.
David Blue.
This guy. I'm in. He's supposed to be like. I mean, as I said, he's supposed to be like a massive fan of the show, but it comes across as so like condescending, man. So fucking condescending. Even the way he's like introduced, which is like, it's like some weird like aspect. Like apparently the U.S. Navy released a game based on the mission reports of Stargate Atlantis, like actually set in Atlantis, and like the very fact that he like beat that game got him to the attention of Stargate Command. That's legit how he gets recruited. And everyone, like, rags on the guy because he's a nerd. Dude, what the fuck? We're in another galaxy. Stop being all up in people's fucking faces, man. We're on a spaceship. You can't call other people nerds.
Was an enormous fan of Stargate, having watched every
Eli,
episode
that's
of
his name.
SG-1 and Atlantis by the time he landed the role of Eli Wallace in Universe. Brian J.
That's my
Smith was
peanuts.
in the early years of his career when he was cast as Matthew Scott. He would later go on to star in the cult classic sci-fi series Sense8. Jamil Walker Smith
Maybe that's where I know him from. Because I vaguely remember watching that. I don't know.
who was cast as Ron Greer, had a much more prolific career, having had numerous regular voice acting roles and guest acting roles across network TV and independent film. Elena Huffman was cast as Tamara Johansson. Like Walker Smith, Huffman had a steady career of guest roles on television. Before joining Stargate, she had appeared in Smallville as Black Canary.
Okay, that must be where I know her from. I do remember liking a lot of Smallville. In fact, it's one of the few DC like related franchises and like series that I actually like. Well, that and the first Wonder Woman film. I do like that. Yeah. Totally not because Gal Gadot is amazing looking. Not actress. Amazing looking.
And she later landed recurring roles in Supernatural, The 100, and...
Ah, yeah, she was in Supernatural. And The 100. Did I watch The 100? I think I watched a couple of episodes of it.
Riverdale. Elise Levesque, who was cast as Chloe Armstrong, had also appeared in Smallville, as well as the failed television remake of Flash Gordon before Stargate.
There was a modern remake of Flash Gordon? Jesus. Must have really not gone well.
Rounding out the regular cast was Ming-Na Wen as Camille.
I love this chick. I love her so much. In fact, one of my, well, obviously, Mulan. I also love her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. If you haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you should watch it. It's really good. What? Yeah. Unironically, I just love her. She's so great.
Rey. Wen was known as the voice of Mulan in the original Disney classic, and had
Yeah.
also lent her voice to the character Aki Ross in Final Fantasy The Spirits Within. She had a successful career.
Okay, I didn't know she did that. That was like a bit before my time, though. When was my first Final Fantasy? Was it actually 13 or was it 12? Or was it 11? No, it can't have been 11. That was an MMO. Fuck. I remember playing a Final Fantasy on the PS2, and I remember being absolutely blown away by the graphics, but utterly confused by the leveling system. I think that might have been 12. Because I remember, like, picking up 13 and being utterly disappointed by it because of the absolute linearity of it. I hated that.
Career across TV and film before and after Stargate.
That reminds me, I need to play the I recently got the Final Fantasy VII remake. I need to play that because I played like a little bit of that on the PS4. But like, yeah, you know, mods always a plus.
Recently joining the Star Wars universe.
Don't tell who makes it? Capcom? Yeah, don't tell Capcom.
As Fennec Shand, appearing in recurring.
No, Square Enix. Jesus. I'm sorry. Capcom was Street Fighter and shit. Oh my god.
Roles were Lou Diamond Phillips as Colonel David Telford, Julia Benson as Lieutenant Vanessa James, Patrick
I'm sorry. I just remember this.
as Colonel David Telford, Julia Benson.
I just remember this chick just having gigantic tits and nothing else. I'm sorry. I think she's actively like banging one of the what's his name? I think he's actively banging this guy. This guy at the start of the film. I vaguely remember that. God, that actually has to be really awkward for him. Oh shit, I'm stranding on the other side of the universe with the chick that I just fully intended to bang and leave.
Benson as Lieutenant Vanessa James, Patrick Gilmore as Dr. Dale Volker, Peter Kalarmis as Adam Brody, and Jennifer Spence as Dr. Lisa Park. The series was shot mostly in and around Vancouver, with sets built across 3 sound stages at Bridge Studios. For the pilot episode, location filming also took place in the New Mexico desert. Each episode cost roughly $2 million. The show was shot using the Panavision Genesis cameras, the same camera used to shoot Superman Returns. The shooting style was markedly different.
Also, another good DC film, Superman Returns. That was good. Henry Cavill's Superman was bloody good.
Than previous Stargate shows, with an emphasis.
I think that was back when he first did it, I think. Or was that before him? Don't remember.
On handheld camera and high contrast hard lighting. For the premiere episode, Richard Dean Anderson, Amanda Tapping, and Michael Shanks all reprised their respective SG-1 roles to pass.
Well, kind of with Michael Shanks. He appeared in like a televised infomercial kind of thing. As you can probably tell.
The baton to the new cast. The visual effects of the show were handled by an in-house team at Bridge Studios, with assistance from Image Engine and Atmosphere Visual Effects, among others. The show required new CG models of the Hatak motherships and Death Gliders, as well as the Destiny
Higher
itself.
detail.
The Destiny, being an older variant of ancient technology, was given a low-tech steampunk look, with dashes of H.R. Giger for inspiration. Just like Atlantis, this new show's Stargates were made distinct from those in SG-1.
I really like the design of the new the older Stargates, by the way. It's like a massive, like, crank. You're like cranking up the star dress.
As well as carrying over the steampunk.
Because you see, it has to spin, right? It needs to spin, otherwise it doesn't work.
The biomechanical look of the Destiny, the entire gate rotated in place, driven by a motor built underneath the set floor. The ever-reliable Joel Goldsmith once again scored the series, creating a wholly different sounding score to previous Stargate shows. Rather than a bombastic orchestral sound, Goldsmith infused Universe with more electronica, rock, and world music. While not having room for a full theme like SG-1 or Atlantis, Goldsmith did compose a signature motif using a distorted Indian Delruba instrument.
Yeah, it's not as iconic. I mean, I guess it's cool and otherworldly and shit, but like... not as good.
In another departure from previous Stargate shows, Universe also featured a large number of songs. The three-part opening episode, Air, featured the song Breathe by Alexi Murdoch, and Janelle Monáe's Sincerely Jane is used later in Season 1. After a long
I did not remember that. Did I block those out from my memory? Sheesh.
gestation, Stargate Universe debuted
Wow.
on the Sci-Fi Channel on the 2nd of October 2009. Stargate Universe's new tone and style are set right from the opening scene. The slow introduction of the Destiny, accompanied by Joel Goldsmith's haunting score, creates a thick atmosphere of melancholy and mystery before we come to the familiar Stargate. This time, however, rather than a gateway to adventure, the Stargate becomes an instrument of chaos as dozens of people are catapulted through, becoming bruised and bloody as they smash into the floor and collide with each other.
Momentum or something.
Further precedents are broken by the episode's non-linear structure, and further departures from Stargate's established tone. The action is grittier, with emphasis placed on the injuries sustained by the characters. The characters themselves are more conflicted, often breaking into bouts of anger and panic. And in general, there is more sex and violence than in previous
Oh, yep,
shows.
I was right.
It could be argued there was a basis for
She
this
did
change
bang
in
him.
content. After all, SG-1's first year on Showtime featured even stronger nudity and violence than Universe. However, that show quickly course-corrected to a more family-friendly style, and the
Yeah, like,
following 14
immediately.
seasons stuck to this mold. Therefore, it's understandable why Stargate Universe's abrupt stylistic changes were so jarring to so many fans at the time. Despite these differences, however, Universe does reveal itself as quintessential Stargate at its core. Although Universe is generally darker than previous shows, there are flashes of Stargate's signature humor and adventurous spirit.
I thought I saw the Statue of Liberty sticking half out of the sand. Just for a second there. I was all ready to yell, "Damn you! Damn you all to hell!"
How the fuck no one get that reference? There's no one to be embarrassed by. You're on another planet.
The Destiny itself is a masterwork of design,
Again.
feeling instantly iconic with its elegant shape and rich details. The H.R. Giger-inspired steampunk aesthetic, coupled with the high
That's another thing I like. The design of the ship is so fucking cool. I fucking love it. So cool.
and rich details. The H.R. Giger-inspired steampunk aesthetic, coupled with the high contrast lighting, work together to create an impression of something wondrous yet haunted. The documentary-style presentation, though, has mixed results. The cinematography is generally strong, creating a lot of depth in its use of shadow and vibrancy in its mix of
Yeah, there's a lot of shaky cam in this, I remember. Yeah.
color temperatures. The direction is also solid, the show having inherited many of SG-1 and Atlantis' veteran directors who make sure to create strong compositions and block the actors in such a way that they never feel cluttered in ensemble shots. This is why the constant jitter of the handheld camera doesn't end up adding much to the show's presentation. Ultimately, it's difficult to see what justified this documentary style, especially when Eli starts making an in-universe documentary, which ironically uses these smooth, wide-angle Kino cameras. What's most refreshing, however, is the plot of Universe's debut episode. Having watched SG-1 and the Atlantis expedition grapple with time travel, alternate dimensions, and galactic threats, the three-part premiere Air, being a simple survival story, is a welcome change of pace. Carrying over Stargate's well-maintained internal logic and in-universe consistency drives a tense plot which keeps you on the edge of your seat until the final act. Critical reception to the episode was generally positive, though, like some fans, several critics took issue with the stylistic changes. The first episode had a solid debut of 2.3 million viewers, healthy ratings, but viewership fell short of both SG-1 and Atlantis' premiere episodes. The creative team had taken a big swing at revitalizing the Stargate mythos, but following Air's debut, they were still holding their breath.
Just breathe.
The following episodes, Darkness, Light, and Water, continue many of Air's strengths. Small-scale survival stories built on personal stakes and driven by ingenuitive plotting. There's an overriding sense of desperation in many stories, as the Destiny crew cling to life aboard a ship they have no knowledge or control over, and seems to have a will of its own. Light sees most of the crew resigned to their deaths when it appears Destiny is on a collision course with a star. But after sending away a small group of survivors, the remaining crew discover this is simply part of Destiny's refueling process.
You're telling me the ship
is powered by the stars themselves. Solar powered, quite literally. There is no other explanation.
What?
In Water, Young and Scott
Very, very, very simplified, but yes. It literally dives into the star to, like, suck up some of the, like, the energy given plasma, but yes. They are solar powered. I love it when shows stupefied down. Fucking god damn it.
race to replenish the ship's water supply from an ice planet before Destiny jumps into FTL and leaves them behind.
All I'm saying is, if you delay much longer...
Listen to me. I know exactly what you're saying, and I'm not going anywhere without Lieutenant Scott, and that's the way it's gonna be.
Destiny itself continues to be an enduring mystery, and the part of space it occupies feels truly alien. Unlike previous Stargate shows which depicted planets inhabited by the ancient peoples of Earth, Universe inhabits completely new territory. The alien life forms the Destiny crew encounters are truly alien and truly terrifying. There's a strong sense of loneliness and isolation to Stargate Universe, which other stranded in space style shows like Star Trek Voyager never managed to capture. This bleakness is often what justifies the conflict between the characters. Some Stargate fans criticize this aspect of the show as lacking the camaraderie of SG-1 or Atlantis, but it's worth remembering that none of the characters in Universe chose this fate. The cast of Universe would be the background characters of any other Stargate show. They weren't handpicked as the best of the best to go off on a mission. They're the B team who would have ordinarily played support roles for SG-1 or the Atlantis expedition. They have been thrown to the other side of the universe, under-equipped, undersupplied, and undermanned. The focus on character conflict and the strain among the crew leads to some of Season 1's best episodes, such as the mid-season episode Divided.
What's done is done.
Already have the food and water supplies. Plus, control of all accessible systems has been transferred over to the consoles on my side of the line.
At times, however, this focus can detract from the show, typified by the controversial inclusion of the communication stones. In some ways, the communication stones are a thematically powerful idea. The ability of the characters to switch bodies with people back on Earth is equally a blessing and a curse. It allows the characters to return to their loved ones, but it also makes the gulf between them even more apparent.
Very weird.
Is it really you? 你把那个旧烂的凳子丢掉了吗？
Ah, yes. It's my loved one in the body of like a random person. Yes, I'm definitely going to believe that. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Conceptually, the idea is fascinating, and the mechanics of the stones facilitate some extremely creative plots throughout the show. However, the stones also facilitate what can best be described as soap opera content. Considering all the mystery and
Yeah, it is soap opera content. I mean, that's essentially what I said. It's the CW kind of like, you know, tacky drama bullshit.
intrigue built up around the destiny and this region of space, Colonel Young worrying about his wife having an affair, and Lieutenant...
Yeah, it also feels like they spent like an inordinate amount of time on Earth when it's a sci-fi show. I know you have to get to your families or whatever, but do that off screen. We don't care. Well, okay, we do care, but yeah, some of the weakest like episodes in SG-1 are like focused on the backstories of the main characters, sadly. In fact, the only one I think that actually like got, yeah, like felt like relatively annoying to me was Sam's like, you know, never-ending like quest for like a partner. That was weird. Because she's had some weird ones. Freaking Martooth. There was like this random ancient who built a Stargate out of like a microwave. What else? Oh, who's the not the Janai guy, the other guys. The other guys who are full of themselves. But like meet them in season 1. I don't know. And like in the end, she kind of gets with like this random like dude, this like absolute non-assuming dude in like season 7, I want to say.
Lieutenant Scott discovering he has a son from a previous relationship doesn't warrant much interest. Rather
Yeah,
than
nah.
fleshing out the characters, these story threads feel like extraneous drama, which does little to enhance the larger arcs of the show.
It's not drama, it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. We didn't come here for emotion. We came here for sci-fi. Maybe some emotions sprinkled in. We don't want this to be the full fucking show.
Indeed, the negative reaction to this material by certain fans was a part of a larger backlash from a vocal portion of Stargate's longtime viewers. Despite the attempt at making Universe a jumping on point for new viewers, the show never really broke out into the mainstream the way Battlestar Galactica did a few years earlier. As a result, most of the audience for Universe were longtime fans.
Well, a few years earlier. BSG was in 2004, man. This started in, well, that's 5 years ago from this point, I guess. Yeah.
Who were extremely divided on the show.
God, BSG is over Over 20 years old. That is fucked.
While some of the backlash was understandable, the vitriol often hurled at the series was unjustified. The comparison to Battlestar Galactica is obvious, and the influence over SGU's tone and style is undeniable.
I mean, it's basically the same plot, isn't it? The only difference with BSG is that BSG has an entire fleet of ships. Like, fled from Caprica, I believe. Was it Caprica? God, I really have to rewatch BSG. I've got the full series, actually, I should. Yeah, the only difference is, like, Destiny is just like a massive broken down ship. With, like, periodic visits to other planets. But it's just weird how much they fucking struggle, man. The ship actively gives you, like, opportunities to improve its own situation. Because it's, like, semi-intelligent. That's why it stopped at, like, the first planet for air. Like, to get, I think was it calcium carbonate for, like, the filters? To, like, get them to filter properly. Yeah, they actively stopped at planets that were actually liable to help the ship support its newfound crew. So what are you complaining for? Just man up. I mean, I know they're like, you know, not supposed to be here. None of us are supposed to be here. It's pure fucking chance that we are here in the first place. Chaos. Like, I think that's probably why I like Dr. Rush so much. It's because he's like the voice of reason to these absolute assholes.
This is not necessarily a bad thing, however. Battlestar Galactica itself was overtly influenced by 24 and The West Wing, and previous Stargate shows pulled from adventure stories like Lawrence of Arabia and Indiana Jones. There's nothing wrong with taking inspiration from other works. However, the close proximity of Battlestar Galactica and Stargate Atlantis' cancellation led to the view among certain fans that Brad Wright and Robert C. Cooper were abandoning what made Stargate special in an attempt to chase popular trends.
When we premiered, some publicist.
What the heck? Why does he look like a fuckboy? Maybe it's the hair. Like, why does he look like a fuckboy? Did he, like, overcompensate because his, like, first acting role was, like, on Stargate Universe? It's just like, I no longer want to be a geek, I want to be a fucking Chad, and this is what he came up with.
In the same press release where they were announcing that Atlantis was getting canceled, they announced us. One had nothing to do with the other. They were done doing it.
Also, what the fuck kind of weird shit is there? It's just like, John Riker. And like, who's the other bitch in the background? Oh shit, I've forgotten her name. The security officer who was killed off in season 2 of Next Generation. What's her name? Who I kinda liked. Kinda. What's her name? Fuck. I don't know. And it's just like him.
One had nothing to do with the other. They were
Why are you there?
done doing Atlantis.
Your name came associated with...
I mean, not my name personally. Good lord, that would have been terrible. But no, they literally, like in the next sentence, it was like, we're ending Stargate Atlantis. However, we have a new show. And you're like, And even as a fan, I was like, no, you just stepped in it.
Yeah.
And immediately people blamed us. They thought we were the reason. Had nothing to do with it. They were going to be done with Atlantis regardless.
This wasn't helped by Stargate Universe at face value.
Yes! Yes! This is the episode I was talking about! Yes.
value, including many elements which Stargate itself had lampooned in SG-1's 200th episode.
I think you need a strong opening title sequence.
Are you serious? No one does that anymore. You just throw up the title and get on with it.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of being treated like some sort of object to be worshipped.
Exactly, yes, look at this.
A person with real feelings.
No. I don't think Mitchell likes me anymore.
My life was so shallow and pointless. And then I started working with my dad. I really thought that I could do something, make a difference.
It's like they unironically thought it was a good idea. I'm sorry. It just seems like a bad person just laughing at someone crying, but it's just... Okay, context for this scene, she just like lost her dad in like the last episode. I think it was the first episode, and she's like grieving about like losing her dad. But I'm just like, nope, fuck off, man up, just man up.
Though the tone and style of
Jesus.
the universe may be different, at its heart it's quintessential Stargate. Anyone who doubts this should look at episodes like Time and Lost. The former is a complex time loop scenario, while the latter sees Eli, Chloe, Greer, and Scott racing through a chain of Stargates to catch up with Destiny before it moves out of range. Both plots feel like they could easily work in either SG-1 or Atlantis, however they are elevated by Universe's unique style. Time has a delightfully schlocky horror movie feel to it.
Yes. But, again, I agree. There are some episodes in there that are good. Like, there's one where, I can't even remember what the name of it is, but there's one where, I think it's in season 2 where they're like something goes wrong with Destiny and they're forced to like land on a planet, but then somehow they also land on it again and they find humans there who are descendants of themselves. I seem to remember that.
And thanks to the
That was
show's
fun.
R-rated leanings, it's allowed to be more graphic and scary, with a well-executed found footage gimmick. Meanwhile, Lost's planet hopping is made more grueling and high stakes by Universe's emphasis on gritty survival tropes rather than spacefaring adventure. It's still Stargate, just with a new coat of paint. An undeniable triumph is Robert Carlyle's Nicholas Rush. Carlyle brings
agreed.
a raw intensity to his performance, which is as magnetic as it is agonizing. And this duality is perfectly fitting for Rush as a character, who is something of an enigma throughout the show. In some ways, he can be viewed as the show's main villain, a heartless egomaniac who will do anything to survive.
I wouldn't say villain. I'd say more of an anti-hero. Maybe he starts to be like, maybe he gets portrayed as being the villain in like the first couple of episodes. Because, like, literally most of everyone who went through were civilian. And, like, that gets all, like, the military personnel all antsy because, I think there were, like, only 5 military personnel, trained military personnel who actually made it through. There's the big booby bitch, who I can't remember the name of, already did. Scott. Ming-Na Wen's character. The blonde, who's also a medic doctor, and Greer, Lieutenant Major Staff Sergeant Greer. Why do I know his name? I don't know. Eh.
Then again, he can be seen simply as the ultimate pragmatist, putting emotion aside in the moment to accomplish his mission, but a caring person deep down.
Yeah.
Neither label seems to definitively describe the man.
Yeah, he's very complex. I do like the way he gets played. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite parts of the series, to be honest.
Just when the viewer has him pegged as cruel and manipulative, he suddenly does something heroic or says something kind. There's a lot of ambiguity surrounding Rush, with neither the viewer nor the characters ever quite knowing what to make of him. It isn't until the episode Human that we start to get a peek behind the curtain, though at first glance the episode makes clear that Rush is a man grief-stricken over the death of his wife. There's still more to it than that. Ultimately, Rush is a desperately lonely man, not because of who he's lost, but because he sees others as beneath him. He believes only in himself and his abilities. Other people are merely tools he can use to further his own goals. However, Rush is just as much a victim of his own egotism as everyone else.
You tell yourself my death gave you courage. In truth, it made you callous. You're not the man I loved.
He died with you.
I was never your conscience, Nicholas.
I love you, Nick. But you don't. No. Of course I do. I do love you. I swear it. Goodbye.
He'd like to believe he stands apart from others because of his superior intellect.
Dude, okay, that makes me want to watch Solaris. Solaris or Event Horizon? I forgot to watch Event Horizon on Halloween. I should have done that. Fuck.
But there's a gnawing feeling that he is simply a callous and selfish person. He at once craves the approval of others, but thinks of himself as better than everyone else.
I think he's just
it's
complex, man.
His personality, which constantly generates rich drama without ever falling prey to the tiresome soap opera angst present within other characters. It's worth watching Stargate Universe just for this fascinating character alone.
Yep.
The conclusion of the first season, a three-parter which bridges the gap into season 2, is a mixed bag for the show, incorporating many of its strongest and weakest elements. The Lucian Alliance's plot to take control of Destiny is rather uninteresting
Yeah, like, how and why?
Compared to the mystery surrounding the Destiny and the threat posed by the aliens. Despite being stranded on the other side of the universe, placing a domestic threat at the forefront of the season finale is an odd choice. Still, it results in some well-engineered action set pieces and a striking cliffhanger ending. The finale also makes another statement about universe going forward. In this show, there are real consequences. Unlike SG-1 and Atlantis, which had to return to a strict status quo at the end of every adventure, Stargate Universe doesn't have the same kind of certainty. When the Lucian incursion fails, the surviving invaders stick around on the ship, becoming recurring characters throughout the rest of the show, and the regular characters sustain lasting injuries, such as TJ tragically losing her baby in a crossfire, and Dr. Park losing her eyesight in Season 2.
It's still dark. I can't see.
Anything?
No.
Stargate Universe returned for a second season on the 28th of September 2010, but this renewal was a contractual obligation rather than a sign of the show's success. The Sci-Fi Channel had ordered 40 episodes before Universe had even begun airing. However, the ratings for Season 1 declined sharply, shedding 25% of its viewership by the finale.
Ooh. I mean, that's not bad by today's standards, but that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Oh. Wait, I wonder if I can pull up. Hang on. I'm gonna try something here. Let's compare that to season 4 of The Mandalorian. Said like 25% of the viewership of 2.7, was it 2.5 million people? So that's 1.8, I think. Yes. Um. Season 4. Oh. No, I mean season 3. Does I have... It's probably not gonna get like, Inception. First episode was #1 streamed show that we can watch by 1.6 million households over the first 5 days. I would have thought that streaming services actually had more. No, I don't want critical response. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. They're obviously not gonna publish numbers. That would be interesting though.
In an attempt to boost the ratings, Sci-Fi shifted the show's time slot from Friday to Tuesday, but this ended up hurting the show even more.
Yeah, that
Despite
doesn't
the
make
vocal
sense.
Backlash, Stargate Universe did amass a passionate fan base who appreciated its differences and invested heavily in the show's characters.
Yeah, that's from that episode, I think.
Who appreciated its differences and
The episode I was talking about.
Heavily in the show's characters. This fanbase, however, suddenly had a hard time finding the show when it returned for another season. The declining ratings and time slot shift were all a shame because Universe is overall much stronger in its second year, if somewhat uneven. Chloe Armstrong is sidelined for much of season 2. It's rather obvious that the writers didn't know what to do with the character, and to put it bluntly, she was quite underwritten from the start.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't really have much to do. What's the opposite of a Mary Sue? Like, it feels like she's that kind of character. Wait, is that just a damsel in distress? I don't know what that's called. Yeah, it feels like she's only there to provide like a love interest. Because she like bounces back between Lieutenant Scott and Eli as being a love interest. Yeah.
Chloe is mostly defined by her relationships to others.
Yep. What I just said.
Specifically Scott and Eli.
Mm-hmm.
But she has little agency of her own. There's very little substance behind Chloe and
Yeah,
Scott's romance.
she's just
as it
pretty.
Transpires off screen. When it is put front and center, it's in weak episodes like the ill-conceived Cloverdale. The potential function of Chloe's character, being a regular civilian among a crew of scientists and soldiers, is already
Well, she's not really a regular civilian. She was basically, like, the daughter of a senator who died in the first episode. I wouldn't call that being a civilian. It's like the civilian in the purest military sense.
Served by Camille Ray. At first, Ray comes across as the typical IOA representative, the nagging pencil pusher who acts as a thorn in the side of the more courageous and intelligent characters. However, as the crew slowly settle into life aboard Destiny, Ray questioning the military authority over the ship is well justified at times, and despite her lack of training, she proves to be just as courageous and self-sacrificing as the others.
And also it doesn't help that like, the IOA was always, you know, SG-1 and also Atlantis. It's always been like a regular, you know, thorn in the side of like the show for like basically its entire run.
Shoot him. Even if he kills me, you can still get to the bomb.
Camille.
If you give him the gun, he'll kill us both. He's Lucian Alliance.
The subplot of the alien experiment slowly mutating Chloe goes on for far too long and ultimately doesn't add up to much.
I honestly don't remember that bit.
After all is said and done, Chloe is more intelligent than before, but there are already plenty of smart characters in the show. Chloe is smarter, but not so smart as to render Rush or Eli redundant, and so this story thread accomplishes very little. Despite this weak thread, Season 2 is where Stargate Universe finds its feet. The same is true for Colonel.
Yeah, weirdly. Which is when... I have to say, the actual plot line of Season 2 is... interesting. Like, I'm very conflicted about it. But it is interesting. Which is better than it was before.
Young in the episode Trial and Error. Like many of the show's characters, Young is far from the best man for the job which has been thrust upon him. He is not incompetent, but he is prone to pettiness and bouts of anger. For much of the first season, he dictates rather than leads the Destiny crew. Trial and Error sees the continued pressures of command finally get to him. With his wife leaving him back home, Young is plagued by a recurring dream where no matter what he does, Destiny is destroyed by an alien attack.
Return fire.
We can't take on this many ships.
It's too late.
I suggest we shut down all non-essential systems, devote every scrap of power to the shields.
Let's do that.
Ah yes, the unwinnable scenario.
Colonel, we got a problem. More alien shuttles are approaching. A lot more.
In the end, he steps up, not because he's the strongest, but because the crew needs him.
It is never going to stop hurting. It's the whole point. For the sake of everyone on this ship, you are going to have to live with it.
Rather than leading from the front, Young becomes the person everyone else can rely on. From this point on, he is cooler-headed and more amenable. Whereas before he ruthlessly beat Rush and left him to die when he posed a threat, Young later hears Rush out when he tries to pull another fast one.
What are you saying?
That I'm trying to understand why he did what he did.
Trial and Error also brings up the fascinating possibility that Destiny itself is conscious in some way. It is suggested that Young's dreams were a battle simulation created by Destiny to test Young's resolve. There are other instances of Destiny conjuring the images of the dead to talk to people.
One or two things is happening here. Either I'm losing my mind, or you and Dr. Franklin have somehow been manifested by the ship in order to communicate with me. Now, he tends to be a little bit more helpful when it comes to technical matters.
Even after the crew has gained control of Destiny, there are still a lot of lingering mysteries surrounding the ship. And that's where Season 2 excels the most, in its longer arcs. The revelation of Destiny's true mission, a search for signs of intelligence from the dawn of time, is utterly fascinating.
We're talking about a mystery rooted in the foundation of reality. A puzzle with pieces scattered across the length and breadth of the universe itself. We're talking about a level of order present at the very beginning of space-time that goes beyond anything we ever conceived. I believe that the more we learn, then the greater our power to control everything around us will be.
Again, it's intriguing. It's just a pity that we never got, like, a chance to explore this. But again, it does harken back to inklings of what happened with SG-1 with seasons 9 and 10 with the Ori. They also play with like semi-religious elements, and it kind of got cancelled pretty soon after. So there's definitely a correlation there, and they continue to do that. Although with the Ori, it was kind of like less, more cut and dry, because the Ori's technically like ascended ancients who didn't follow like the established doctrine of the actual ancients. But like, yeah, this is like legit trying to find evidence of God. Sci-fi nerds are not really that inclined to that. I mean, there are a few who, like, you know, do, like, reconcile that kind of thing, but, like, I mean, I used to kind of do that, but, like, you know. How are we supposed to know? But, like, yeah, I don't know.
So it is about power. Power to change things. Control our fate. Right the wrongs.
The potential of the concept is touched on in episodes like Faith and Visitation.
Some kind of alien language.
Do you think it's the same ones we keep running into?
Not with this level of technology.
What, to build this thing?
No. To create a planet.
Wait, you're telling me they built the star, too?
That would make them the #1 all-time advanced civilization.
That would be an understatement.
The drone threat, which arises in Season 2, is a classic Stargate conundrum where every solution only presents more problems. Once again, Stargate's carefully managed internal continuity creates a tense intellectual puzzle, as well as a stream of spectacular action. However, the Novus arc is easily the best part of the show. When the Destiny crew encounter humans at this end of the universe, they discover an
Yep, this is the episode I was thinking, yeah.
entire civilization spawned from the descendants of themselves from an alternate timeline who were sent 2 millennia into the past. Novus is the kind of speculative science fiction which feels ripped right from the pages of an Arthur C. Clarke or Ursula K. Le Guin novel. It is vast in scope, but also profoundly intimate. Viewing historical records of their alternate selves shows many characters their worst nightmares and greatest dreams come true.
I wish I could do a more accurate diagnosis, but it sounds like ALS. Lou Gehrig's disease.
For a group of people who were never meant to be on this mission and are often afraid they aren't good enough, Novus shows their incredible potential. The camaraderie and adventurous spirit some Stargate fans thought was missing from Universe is present within this story arc, just not in the way they expected.
We will prosper as long as we can remember above anything else that we need each other. And we need to help each other.
Despite all the mistakes behind them and the challenges ahead of them, the Destiny crew see through Novus that they can pull together and create something beautiful, a sentiment which is true of the show itself. Stargate Universe's 2 seasons are a bumpy ride, but it undoubtedly sticks the landing in its final episode, Gauntlet. With drone command ships blockading their fuel source, Eli suggests placing everyone into stasis and extending their power reserves to remain in FTL until they reach the next galaxy. But when they are one stasis pod short of the entire crew, Eli chooses to stay awake.
I'll do it.
Eli.
If you stay out, it's automatic. You're dead. If I do it, at least I have a chance. Maybe even a better chance than Rush. I've been content to stay in his shadow. Play the part of the eager young protege, take his orders, but I'm not afraid to say it anymore. I'm smarter than him.
I can't ask you to do that.
And I can't take no for an answer.
Eli Wallace could have easily been a worse version of Rodney McKay, but he turns out to be one of the best, if not the best, character of the show. It's fit.
I don't agree with that. Rodney McKay was introduced as an absolute arsehole. An absolute arsehole. Eli Wallace is basically me at this time. Like, couple years out of, like, high school. Like, yeah. Still got that fat kid mentality, kind of nerd.
That David Blue, being such a huge Stargate fan, ended up playing a character who so perfectly embodies the spirit of Stargate. Whereas other characters in Stargate Universe are prone to navel-gazing and cynicism, Eli is always active and optimistic, with a robust sense of humor. Any potential irritation the viewer may feel stemming from Eli's bumbling awkwardness is quickly quashed by the character's intellect, sociability, and proactive nature.
I put a Kino in a search mode and sent it into unpressurized areas of the ship looking for an active console somewhere. Also, I was looking into if there's any way we could integrate the shuttle's power with the ship's system.
So you're working the problem.
Yeah.
In many ways, Eli is Rush's ultimate foil, the walking rebuttal to all of Rush's judgments about himself and the world. While Rush looks down on others and blames his superior intellect for his social isolation, Eli is socially popular and even smarter than he is. As a result, Rush simultaneously admires and despises Eli.
I just realized something that I never got before. The suits are basically the exact same as the ones from, like the weird Asgard offshoot from Atlantis. I just got that. Huh. Maybe they were ancient technology, huh? Actually, no, they were ancient technology. I think. Seem to remember.
As a result, Rush simultaneously admires and despises Eli.
You know, maybe I haven't said this often enough, Eli, but you do have...
something.
You do have tremendous potential. I'd hate to see you throw it all away.
It's fitting then that Stargate Universe ends with Eli, the embodiment of Stargate's spirit, alone on Destiny, gazing out at the cosmos. At the end of its second season, Stargate Universe was cancelled due to low ratings. The show remains controversial among fans to this day, hated by some and loved by others. Speaking for myself, while SG-1 remains my favourite Stargate show with Atlantis a close second, Universe is one I appreciate more and more. Despite its occasional dips into tiresome soap opera and the gratuity of some of its content, Stargate Universe ultimately succeeds as the more grounded and the most human Stargate show. By the end of its second season, this discordant group of flawed people really came together, not just as a crew, but as a family.
Yeah, I feel like if it was like allowed to like stretch its legs, like past season 2, I feel like people might have liked it a bit more. Because when I watched like particularly the last half of season 2, probably starting with like the Novus kind of episode, I definitely felt like it was like getting way better. But yeah.
We've been through a hell of a lot together, that's for sure. We're family now. Sons, daughters, sisters, even the slightly crazy uncle who, despite everything, still manages to come through for you in the end.
Yep, I'm definitely the crazy uncle of like my family. Well, if anyone is gonna have kids, I'm definitely not gonna have kids. I'm that weird bachelor uncle.
To family.
Stargate Universe was continued in comic book form after it was cancelled, but it's a bittersweet resolution to what was shaping up to be a genuinely enthralling and beautiful story. MGM's financial difficulties worsened during Universe's run, with the company declaring bankruptcy a month before Universe's second season. MGM's woe.
Oh, was it? Oh. I thought it was during the second season.
Crippled any financial support for any future Stargate projects, and the rapidly declining DVD market put an end to any more movies in development.
Yeah.
In a shockingly short amount of time, Stargate fell from its peak of popularity to being a dead franchise. Atlantis actor Joe Flanagan famously tried to revive Stargate as a TV
a couple
show
times.
with financial backing from Europe, but the shifting corporate owners of the property weren't interested. The mismanagement continued when in 2018, MGM attempted to launch Stargate Command, a streaming platform exclusively for Stargate.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. It's Stargate. As much as I love Stargate, it's not Star Trek. It's not. I mean, even with Paramount Plus, there are arguably other things that were, focused around, Stargate. And considering how many, like, freaking, like, series there are of, like, Star Trek. Stargate Prodigy, Star Trek. Star Trek Prodigy. There's Discovery, I think that ended season 5. There's Star Trek Picard into season 3. There's Lower Decks. I believe that was pretty successful. Yeah, and there's like, the like legacy Star Trek content, which includes 9 movies? 10 movies? Well, technically 12 movies because of the new Trek timeline thing. Yeah. I can't believe that was my first like intro to Star Trek. God, we gotta do like one for Star Trek, man. But I think I'm probably gonna hold off on that until I actually watch all of Star Trek, because I've only watched the first movie of the original series. I've only watched First Contact of the Next Generation movies. I've watched season 1 to 3 of Enterprise. I've watched up to season 4 of Next Generation, and I haven't touched Voyager or Deep Space Nine. And I watched like a couple of episodes of the original series, but I bounced off that pretty damn hard. Just because I think Shatner is immensely annoying. The way of speaking that he does is just really fucking annoying.
The flagship product to launch this platform was a cheaply produced and poorly conceived web series titled Stargate Origins.
Yeah. They tried. They tried. I was really annoyed with this. They basically retconned like the whole origin of like the Stargate. With like them trying to like start up like a like another program in like the 40s. And I know what they tried to do. They tried to go into like a Indiana Jones kind of thing, but it just didn't work.
The less said about this and the failed streaming platform, the better.
Yeah.
Stargate is a strange entity in the pantheon of science fiction icons. It was on TV for so long, and yet it feels as though it ended too early. In comparison to Star Trek's death in 2005, where the creative heads of the mythos had clearly run out of steam, Stargate still seemed so full of potential. It would be a shame for any reboot to jettison the lore built up over so many years. The future remains to be seen, and there will always be a future, because there is always one more adventure waiting on the other side of the Stargate. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay up to date on future uploads. On my Patreon, you can see videos early and ad-free. The link is in the description. Thank you to all of my patrons and members, with an ultra thanks to Labelle Games, Tim Spot, Eamon Kelly, Michael Hardy, County Arc, Mike Halsey, Olivia Computer, Bano, Jaron Walker, Tom, Director Kate, Patrick Fleming, Matthew Camille, Lilac Yane, Ed Mark Starr, Extreme Streamers, Howard Craig Kervick, and AS Caging 101. Thank you once again for watching, and until next time, have a good one.
Alright. That... I keep on forgetting that it's not that bad. Especially in the later episodes. I mean, later episodes of season 2. But, yeah. Suppose about to find something else to try and react to, I guess, in a couple of weeks. Anyway, hope you enjoy this little venture. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. And yeah, I'll be back with Ghost of Tsushima tomorrow. In the meantime, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I've been Purist, signing off.